The backend is now ready for actually showing us who is typing, but we need to kind of create the front end so that it can actually start listening and sending events when we are typing and when others are actually typing as well. Let's start with just sending the event to the others that we are typing. Now the way we're going to do it is we're going to hook into the form control. I just want to rename this guy because I'm really not a fan of calling it just messages. I want to call it message FC for form control, right? So that's what I'm going to call it right here. And then let's go and actually start listening. Whenever a change happens to this form control, I want to actually send this message to the backend that something changed. So let's try and actually go into our TypeScript and just start listening on that form control. So I'll say in my list of listeners right here, I'll say message form control. I want to look for value changes. Now that's an observable. So I can start subscribing to this guy. But before I do, you want to pipe and you want to say, I want to take until I actually get that destroy in here. There we go. We'll just do that as a new line. And let's actually just get this a few lines down. There we go. Now, when we have this, we can then subscribe and say every time somebody changes the value in that form control or the message, I want to send an event, right? Whenever this happens, whenever somebody presses the key, I want to send an event to the backend. So now that we have the value available, let's use the service. We'll say this service, the chat service, right? And there we'll say send typing. That's going to be my name. I'm going to pass in, here I need to pass in a true or false value. And I'm going to say if the value length, so if there's actually above 0 characters, it's going to be true. That's what I'm going to pass. So if there is 0 characters, it's going to be false. But if there's more than 0 characters, it's going to be true. So that we know that when we are typing, it's going to be true. When we end typing, it's going to be false, right? So let's go and create this method, send typing. I'm just going to move it all the way up to send message, just to kind of show you guys that it's going to be the same thing, except what we're going to do is it's actually going to send to another event name. Well, here we'll do a void. We don't want to return anything in this case. And we'll say this.socket.emit. And then we'll pass in, we need to have the same name. So again, let's go to the backend. We need to find the name right here. That's typing. We'll fix this later because it's kind of annoying to remember all these names. So we'll try and make a better solution. But let's just put in typing right here. And there we'll pass in the Boolean value. Let's just call this typing. And we'll pass that into the typing right here. So that's now the front end can send to the backend that we're actually typing. Go back to the component right here, see if everything is running. It seems it is. Let's just try and go now to the backend and just console log whenever we're typing. That's all we're going to do for now. Console log that we're typing. There we go. And let's just try and save this. Now let's try and log in and see what happens. So let me just log in right here and start typing. Let's say hello. Notice if I go to the backend right here, you'll notice a lot of typing has been sent, right? A lot of typings. Let's try and go back and just clear this out. And again, notice every time where I clear it, I get either true or false back. And here when it's blank, I get false back. So I have communication between the front end and the back end. Now, the question is, do I really want to send every time I click? Do I really want to send an event every time? Now we can actually slow things down a little bit and say we don't want to kind of send it immediately. We just want to send it after a small delay by going in and using something called debounce. So let's try and go into our application. And again, here we have where we are listening for these value changes. We're going to make a new thing here called debounce time. There we go. And that means that we're not going to send this event right here. We're not going to hit the subscribe unless it's been like, let's say 500 milliseconds. And after 500 milliseconds when nobody has touched the keyboard, then it will actually send this event. So with that in place, let's try and jump back to the code, put in a nickname right here. There we go. And let's just try and type something. Let's say hello. And let's see how many times it sent events. This time, I only got one true. Let's try and just type a couple of times. And again, I only got one true. So that's amazing. Now you don't send all the time. Now you kind of debounce and slow things down a little bit and just send the event once every 500 milliseconds. So that's how you can use the debounce. And it's valuable for a lot of other things later on as well if you want to use that debounce. And again, notice how cool it is to already work with observables and be able to do stuff like this in a very, very simple way. I really love observables when we can see these different sides of them that are a lot more powerful than just good old promises. Sweet. So that's it for this lesson. Now we can send the event from the front end to the back end, but of course we also need to show and listen when somebody's starting to type. We'll do that in the next lesson. See you next time. Bye.